Welcome to Amalgam Hour, the movie and comic podcast. I'm Robin.
And I'm Dan.
See, I got that intro to memory. We always have to talk about the intro, like, at the very start of the video. That's just how this show works now.
Yeah.
You know? I should also give the credits to all the people behind this marvelous show. Me. And, okay, so what's the topic today, Dan? Actually, I can take this one. I've thrown it at you for the past 17. Inspired by What If, the new series that's coming out on Disney Plus, and Chip Zdarsky's new Web of Shadows, I think the What If book is called. What If in the comics is having a reboot. So we decided to make some stories of our own. Well, this is personally me because we haven't discussed. I've chose some classic stories, but then also some just things that I'd want to see, and then I try to figure out the what if that would work for that. You know what I mean?
I just looked at something in my room and tried to figure it out.
Oh, God. You can go first.
No, you go first.
No, you go first. It's okay, Dan.
No, you go first.
No, you go first.
This is good, so I'm going to make this an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, audience, this is just going to be us doing this for the past half an hour. Oh, yeah, by the way, subscribe. We actually have a playlist that, if I'm smart, will appear in the top right corner of the screen, and it's the playlist of all of these videos, all the podcasts, because soon we're hopefully going to start a new series. But the thing is, the audience don't know. We've recorded this for 4 weeks in advance, so I can put this series out whenever I want. You like that, didn't you, Dan? You like that?
Definitely haven't already recorded the first one.
Shh. Okay, go on, Dan.
Okay, you can judge me on this one. This is probably already
I am,
been done.
don't worry.
But I needed, you told me we needed about 4 for this.
I need you, but yeah. Carry on.
The preparation thing, I needed one more.
What?
So I looked at the list, yeah. Because as of recording, we only did our favourite villains yesterday.
That's true.
So I had that list in front of me. Okay, so you can judge me.
I see.
But what if Ultron worked? It's probably been done, but I don't care.
What do you mean, like if Ultron was a success?
Like the original intention.
Okay.
Like he was good.
Do you have any idea to back that up, sort of thing? Because as soon as you said that, I came up with something. But you can carry on. Yeah,
I was just thinking one of the invasions that happens in the comics. Just what if there was an Ultron army backing up the Avengers as well?
Okay. Now, can
I make their life a little easier?
I know you said it, but I'm instantly going to take your idea and talk for about 10 minutes, if that's okay with you, Dan, and audience.
Because that's not what we said beforehand, definitely not.
Okay, I instantly imagined they make Ultron. He becomes the Vision, of what Vision would become. He's now an Avengers member. He works with Iron Man and Hank Pym and all the smart dudes. And I almost imagine it as both that army scenario you were talking about, where he makes 1 million Ultron bots, and I almost imagine them replacing S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. You know? Or that's what sword is. And you spell
Ultron.
And you spell sword with a U instead of an O, and that stands for Ultron. You know? Because I'm a genius. But I also imagine, do you know how in some comics how Batman treats his city? Where it's I control the surveillance. I have drones flying around. I have people around every corner. I'm hacking. I control this. I control that. I feel like that's what Ultron would become very quickly. Honestly.
Yeah, like a surveillance guy.
Yeah. And he's the perfect guy in the chair. And he would be sick.
Because he doesn't need a chair.
Yeah, and he would be sick. I'd also imagine as if Ultron just became code. So the Avengers will have a bunch of Ultron bots backing them up, and from any moment he can switch between them all. You know?
Yeah, like he does normally.
Yeah, but it's just in the film and stuff, and usually in the comics it's one body, and then it's until that gets destroyed that he changes around. But I imagine imagine the Avengers are split up. And he goes back and forth between the two Avengers groups, and they all have an Ultron bot with them. Do you know what I mean? That's why I imagine it as.
they've always got backup because there's always an Ultron.
Yeah. And obviously Ultron would have, like, you'd have to change his design because that's one evil face. Tell you that much. That's one evil face. It could be cooler if it's like, I imagine this almost as like a white Vision plus Ultron. Like, I imagine that's what it would sort of look like. Like, I don't think he'd have a cape. Like, that doesn't seem like Ultron to me. You know?
No, we'd probably still have like a similar look to what Ultron had, just like a basic robot.
But then I feel like,
it's not evil.
Because he wouldn't be Wonder Man. Yeah, but if Ultron were good, I imagine it as almost Marvel's answer to what Batman has become. Where it's like, I have a secret plan to take you down and take you down and take you down just in case. So I know you said if he was good, but I still imagine he rides the line sometimes, you know?
It's Ultron, he's going to make the story more interesting.
Exactly. That's actually quite a fun idea. I kind of like that. Because one of mine was going to be, what if the heroes were the villains?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just a simple swap. And that could be really fun. Like, imagine Ultron was in that. He's the Vision / Iron Man for the evil of, like, the good Avengers team, technically. If you get what I mean?
But they're evil. So instead of Hulk, it's Abomination. Instead of Iron Man, it's Ultron. Instead of...
Yeah. Whatever.
All that crap.
You know? We should... Yeah. That's a podcast video within itself. Just title...
we all lose our minds.
Yeah. What if heroes turn bad or something? Because they did that.
Here we go. New spin-off series. Every time we're going to waffle about a what-if idea.
Yeah.
That's just not serious.
They did that in one story arc where Red Skull become Red Onslaught because he merged with Professor X, and he changed Iron Man into a dick. And, like, it was a bunch of supervillains and superheroes, and they swapped the roles. So for a day, Carnage became Spider-Man, Iron Man became, like, Doctor Doom type, you know? I'm just like, that would be fun to just see a universe of that. Because also, the heroes are always more powerful than the villain most of the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
and if they're not, they end up becoming it.
Yeah, and as well, there's a lot more villains to heroes, because I was thinking about this the other day. Every hero has at least 5 villains that are just for them. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then with Spider-Man...
Doesn't matter how good they are.
Yeah, like Moon Knight. Instantly, I could rattle off 5 villains that are just him. Don't make me. But then with Spider-Man, it's like 105, you know? And some of them go to Daredevils, some of them go to whoever and whoever and whoever.
Yeah, some villains are sleeping around a bit, but...
Exactly, dude. Exactly. But that could be fun, where it's like, you're still outmatched villains. Like, I imagine it always being teams. Oh, the Superior 6. Doc Ock, Sandman, Mysterio. Ooh, I like that, Dan.
It's the same team, but they're just sinister superior.
But it's like Doc
and they're
Ock.
not very superior to Spider-Man at all.
Doc Ock would clearly be like the leader. That's an entirely different podcast. Assistant that we don't have. Write that down.
Yeah.
Ooh, what would Age of Ultron become in yours? Ooh, I have... This is an idea.
Yeah.
Vision from an alternate reality, or say when how this what if happened, say Kang went back in time, messed up, whatever, that Vision that disappeared out of existence because Ultron was good comes back in time to kill Hank Pym before he creates Ultron. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Or this would be a sick in-canon story to why Ultron went bad. Vision actually went back in time and uploaded like a virus into Ultron that made him bad, just so he could exist. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
See, I told you.
Stupid, but...
Yeah, I'm like, it's no more stupid than Age of Ultron, where Wolverine goes back in time about 4 times because he's like, oh shit, should I have killed Hank Pym? You know?
No. Just put us till Quicksilver dies and we're all good.
Oh, and you know what would be sick? Because recently, was it the Ultron Pymtron, the merger of Hank Pym and Ultron, he has to merge with a villain instead, because that's a good and a villain coming together. What villain would he go together?
What, Hank Pym or Ultron?
Yeah, swap Hank Pym out. You know what I mean? I was instantly thinking Green Goblin, because during that time he was doing the whole Siege event where he was making Dark Avengers and making Sentry evil. So Norman Osborn is a bet.
Who else is smart?
Ooh, I could even think, Kingpin. It would be a stupid design, but they used Hank Pym because he was he's known across all superheroes, you know?
Yeah.
And who's known to all villains? Kingpin.
The Kingpin.
You know?
You wouldn't be able to take half of him out, but...
That could be fun in its own interesting way.
Yeah.
I might have to draw a good Ultron now.
See, we're just doing this so you have stuff to post on the Instagram.
Exactly. Go to the Instagram. It's on the screen right now. Infernum_comics. I had to quickly read that then, because I haven't got it to memory. And also follow our Twitter, Infernum Comics, all one word, and then follow our Twitch, Infernum Comics, capital I, capital C.
My connection is not good enough to stream.
One day we will. Oh, I actually really like that, Dan.
Yeah.
The Vision story would never happen. But would he... I don't think Ultron, a good Ultron, would go down the route of Vision, where he dates Scarlet Witch, he makes a family. Oh, it could be fun if you bring Jocasta into it. Like, he experiments in different AIs and he makes Jocasta.
Yeah, it's like a Ultron 2.0.
Yeah, as like a wife sort of thing. But I think in the comics, she begins as Ultron wife and then she becomes good. So in this version, she would become bad.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then you could do like some actual Ultron stories that happened in the real continuity.
Just with her.
Yeah.
And Ultron's the guy who's trying to stop it.
I've always thought it's weird that we have both the character of Danger and Jocasta. Do you know who Danger is?
No, never heard of it.
Apparently, the Danger Room in the X-Mansion was actually an AI that Professor X has been abusing this whole time. And then she loses her shit. So it could be fun to just make the Marvel universe simpler if Ultron found that out, like he's working with Professor X, and then he notices a certain like code pattern in the Danger Room, and he's like, wait a minute, and then he like walks over to the machine and plugs himself into it, and then the Danger persona goes into one of the Ultron bots, like one of the lackeys that are around, you know, and that becomes Jocasta / Danger, because that makes sense
if both.
Yeah. Oh, and you know, instead of Iron Man, Ultron is on the Illuminati. Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that
the team
is
was
good.
like Doctor Strange and Professor X.
Yeah, Doctor Strange, Professor X, Namor, Mr. Fantastic, and Iron Man. I think that's it.
Yeah. Just switch out Iron Man with Ultron.
Yeah, switch out Iron Man. Oh, that'd be quite fun. And then you could even do those stories. What if Ultron was there and he just had his army? Because that makes sense. Illuminati, surveillance. You know?
Yeah.
Could you still call him Ultron? I feel like...
Yeah, he was always going to be called Ultron.
Yeah, I feel like Ultron... Because, do you know what Voltron is?
Yeah.
That's like the Power Rangers style, like Megazord sort of like genre and show in it, which is interesting to Ultron's a thing, you know.
I don't know which came first.
Probably Ultron, because he's 1960 to 70, I think, between that. Is there any other robot Marvel characters that could be fun to mess with in your timeline? Because I feel like it would make sense.
I instantly. I was by the way, Ultron is from the 60s.
Yeah. Mm. How would that mess with things? Do you know what instantly happens if you make Ultron good? Wanda never has kids. Wanda never gets rid of half the mutants.
No, none of that happens.
Ooh, that could be interesting if, like, you see the beginning of good Ultron and then you cut, like, 10 years into the future and Scarlet Witch is, like, the new lead of the Avengers. Because she never loses it. She never teams up with Doctor Doom or Magneto. She doesn't have her kids with Vision. Vision never makes a family. Oh. Seeing as you just said this as like a little bit of a funny, humorous joke to yourself.
Yeah, just
you
like,
didn't come up with anything.
What if Ultron worked? Because I couldn't think of anything.
Can we just talk about this for another hour?
Looking at my Age of Ultron DVD thinking, haha, imagine if that worked.
Yeah, that's actually quite fun. Because I don't know Vision enough well to be like, what if Vision wasn't there? You know? So I don't know that
I don't really know what Vision's done, apart from make a family.
Yeah, and then the whole Scarlet Witch scenario.
Yeah.
But
he hooked up with Scarlet Witch and then made his own family.
And then do you know what? And then do you know what Civil War 2 is? All of them against him for surveillance. You know?
Yeah.
But then you've got the smart characters versus the characters who like, because Civil War 2 was about a guy who could tell the future. No. A superhero who hacks into everyone's bank account to see where stolen money goes to. That's actually like something worth like having a civil war over.
Fight about.
Do you know what I mean? That could be fun.
In Civil War 2, just Iron Man versus Captain Marvel though.
Yeah. And it was just made to tie into the movie. But I'm like, Civil War 2 could be fun. Ooh. Civil War 1. Which side's Ultron falling on? I think Iron Man's side.
Because Iron Man's all about them being thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just in the comics, it's because a building blew up.
Yeah, and I feel like that would make a lot of sense of Ultron being like, yeah, of course you should all register. And then do you know who has all those secret files where I can go through and look at your weaknesses and your powers and
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Ultron has access to it all.
Or I could imagine, like the Scarlet Witch scenario in the film Civil War, Ultron is the one that does the damage which begins the Civil War, and then he's the person who feels guilty about it during it.
Yeah.
Like he does a raid and one of his robots self-destructs, or his robot is hacked and then it's made to look like this. That could even be out like Civil War 2.
I was going to say Ultron would have been maybe like Vision was in the Civil War film. He's like, he's thinking logically, like, because he's a robot, he thinks logically, like, yeah, we should do this, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But then always has that back thought of like, does this really make sense?
Because I imagine if Ultron could, it would be like, what would save the most lives? Us all being registered to compared to us not being registered. And he wouldn't care about freedom of speech and freedom to do what you want and stuff.
Because he'd do it anyway, but...
Yeah. I'd love to do that and get someone who really likes the Vision and just talk to them and see what would happen if you took him out of time.
Google right now, Vision podcast.
Should we
message him?
I like this idea so much that maybe we should do like a little series of like, maybe we should just do I kind of like the idea of the hero versus villain one being like a two-part in-depth discussion about it. Because as soon as you said this is actually like a good idea that I like. Because Hank Pym would have way less guilt. He's always had guilt for both hitting his wife and hurting, like making Ultron, you know? He wouldn't get blamed for that. So that could be even fun where it's like, no, if Vision didn't exist, Ultron was good. Hank Pym, Scarlet Witch and Ultron are now the three leaders of the Avengers. Instead of Thor, Iron Man and Cap. Do you get what I mean? Instead of those head honchos, you have those three as their own like...
You should make this its own mini-series out of the main thing. Doing more spin-offs.
Yeah.
Shorter videos.
Maybe
We just talk about one.
Yeah. Or maybe that video we're going to make is just what if this one character was good instead? Do you get what I mean? I really like that because it's so integral to the Marvel universe because several characters are created from it.
Ultron going bad is important.
And then do you know what? Civil War, Iron Man wins. I think that's what would happen. An entire army of robots and a super genius computer where no one can hide because he's got the Ultron drones flying overhead.
It would look very much like when they go to the future in the Terminator films.
Yeah. But, like, I imagine it's not, like, instant destroy, you know?
No.
But it's like, yeah. But it's like, because in, like, Civil War, it's like Captain America will have to hide out sometimes. Ultron will just be like, nope. I found you. I just did. I hacked into the phone you're using right now and I'm listening to it and whoops, I'm behind you. Do you get what I mean? Because then he would never get shot. Cap. He wouldn't get killed in that story and then go back in time and...
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Shankar would still be a hero.
Did he get shot after Civil War?
Yeah, it's like as Civil War ends and then the next issue Cap gets shot and Iron Man goes, uh-oh.
Yeah, and then Iron Man, like the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something.
Yeah. Ultron, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Nick Fury dies, whatever reason. Oh.
I feel like Ultron would take over S.H.I.E.L.D., get rid of all the agents and just make it him.
Oh, this would be sick. One time, Nick Fury gets into a fight and they punch him and it's a robot beneath. You're like, oh, life model decoy. Skin comes off, Ultron face underneath.
Yeah.
That Nick Fury actually died. One of the time it was meant to be a life model decoy and Ultron just took his place. And it could even be that he didn't do it maliciously. Like in Nick Fury's will, it says, my legacy will live on. The director of S.H.I.E.L.D. is now Ultron. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
This is cool. And because Civil War actually ended, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, it didn't. It should have ended like this, with the annihilation wave hitting. So everyone quickly panicked. Oh, and now do you know what we get to see? The Ultron wave versus the annihilation wave.
Yeah.
And just have them fight. That could be how, like... No, that's what you do. You don't do Ultron Kingpin. Ultron Annihilus. He now takes over...
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, fuck that. He takes over the Horde, and now he also is, like... I could imagine him taking over the Nova Corps, you know? He takes over the Kree. He's now the Supreme Intelligence. And then do you know what you do at the end of the story? He's Nova. He's Kree. He's Annihilation. He's the Avengers team. And then Ultron goes, oh yeah, guys, I've actually been evil this entire time. And then just destroys humanity in one fell swoop. You know? That should be Ultron's...
Just turns back to normal Ultron.
Exactly. Like, let's say instead of the red face, he's got like blue or yellow, you know, something that connotes more superhero ideals, you know?
Yeah.
And then you just see it slowly phase back into the red. And then you just see him laughing to himself in a chair surrounded by an army of Ultron. And then it stops there. So you're like, excuse me, what if book? What have you just done? Do you know what we've just done, Dan? We've just done the Ultron plan that should have been.
Yeah, you basically just what if Ultron manipulated everybody.
Yeah, but that's
instead of what if Ultron worked.
Bro, that's a logical thinking idea. Where instead of becoming a villain and forcefully trying to take over, people hand you the position of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Nova Corps and Kree. You know?
Yeah.
And then you know he's got it. You find out that he's like merged himself with the Supreme Intelligence and Annihilus, and he's just like, it's like, oh, where did that really intellectual villain go? And then Ultron's like, ba-da-da-da-da-da, and he's got his arms in the air like he doesn't know, like his Looney Tunes. And then it cuts to a cave where it's just the Supreme Intelligence, Annihilus, and like the leader all strapped into machines, you know? Oh, it's an actual idea now.
Yeah. Are we going to move on from Ultron, or?
No, I'm going to go pitch this to Marvel. Okay. Oh, mine's seem all boring now, and I don't feel like I'd be able to. Well, to be fair, you came up with, maybe he'd be like a backup for the Avengers. And I was like, I was just like, oh my god.
That's about right. Took us 20 minutes to talk about one idea. We bought 4 each.
Yeah.
This is the hour, not the 4 hours.
Okay. This is an idea we talked about the other day. I was going to make the joke that all I was going to say is, what if blank was Moon Knight?
Didn't actually do that, did you?
No, I didn't. That's what I was going to do, and just go, oh, what if Marlene was Moon Knight? What if Frenchie was Moon Knight? What if Punisher was Moon Knight? What if Captain America was Moon Knight?
But you didn't even do other characters, just other Moon Knight related characters. Just what if this person was?
Which, I still have an interesting concept of what if Marlene was Moon Knight, which I'll probably talk about one day. But I want to figure out who would be the best person to become Moon Knight. Because I was thinking Punisher, because he would be exactly what Khonshu wants, a mass murdering vigilante. But I don't think he would spread the name of Khonshu. No. Like, Frank Castle's crazy, but he's not that crazy. Do you know what I mean? We're just going to have a little discussion about, like, fun possible ideas, because I don't have one key story like what if Ultron was good. But what if Punisher was Moon Knight would be fun, because he's not that crazy to follow Khonshu 100%, like Moon Knight has been recently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there could be a sick thing where, do you know, like, the skull of Khonshu's face from recent comics? You replace that with Punisher's skull. You know? Like, that's cool. And you know he's still got to use guns.
Yeah.
But every so often he pulls out a grapple hook, and the grapple hook is like a moon crescent. And if you gave Moon Knight's vehicles to Punisher are sick. Frank Castle driving around in a pure white limousine, instead of his battle van, a limousine. Because that's what he uses in one of the runs. And then Punisher's head just pops out and just guns people down out of this limousine. You know? Or his drone-controlled flight thing, where it's like, it's almost like, do you know what the kite people wear? What's that called?
Yeah.
Hang gliding? Is that what that's called?
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean.
It's kind of like that, but it's a drone. So Moon Knight will be like, come here, and then he'll swoop down and he'll go onto it. Punisher in that is horrifying. You just start seeing the moon get closer and closer to you, then all of a sudden everyone around you is riddled with bullets.
Just you hear gunfire and then look up.
Just absolutely massacred. But then I feel like it would always end, because Max Spector has obviously fought Khonshu, but he'll always go back to him. But I feel like if Punisher became Moon Knight, it would be a fight between Khonshu and Punisher by the end, you know? And it would probably end with, like, Punisher putting a gun into the skull mask and shooting as Khonshu stabs a moon crescent through Frank Castle's heart and they both collapse to the floor dead. You know? It would be one of those scenarios. Where it's like...
for the whole family.
Yeah. But this is another idea I had. This is just an idea.
Yeah. Go on.
What if Professor X became Moon Knight? And I don't mean Professor...
That's a bit of a stretch. But
and I don't mean Professor X running around in, like, white outfit, running around and stuff. I just mean the Khonshu bit. Okay, so imagine this. Professor X is with his brother. They're searching around in a cave. Roof collapses. And because that's not in the comics, the ceiling collapses, and then Professor X's brother gets I think it's the Crimson Sideract or whatever. It's a gem that gives Juggernaut his powers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
God, Juggernaut was his brother.
But in that story you could do, so it was an Egyptian whatever, And because they come from a rich family, the family was on like a tourist attraction, or they were like whatever, you know?
Yeah.
He gets caught in the cave-in instead. And instead of finding the red rock, he looks up and he sees the statue of Khonshu again. And that's the moment. It's almost like his psychic power links with something inside. Like, that's the moment his psychic power links. And it links with this demigod being, Khonshu. You know? Because for one, you would get a way more brutal Professor X, which is fun. Juggernaut would never become the Juggernaut, which could also be fun. As he could... I imagine if Juggernaut never became that, I could almost imagine him becoming like... do you know the guy, the villain from the first X-Men film? Senator Kelly?
Oh, that guy,
That's what Juggernaut
when
could
he
become.
turns to, like, water.
Yeah. But Juggernaut could then become the guy he's in the news pushing for no mutants, but in fact it's jealousy because he never got powers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and his brother did.
Yeah. And then if you had a more vicious Professor X, which we have seen, it could almost be like...
Professor X.
Yeah. It could almost be like Magneto and Professor X are even closer in their views, but it's a very, very fine line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could even imagine it, because Professor X is more brutal, some heroes don't team up with him, but some villains do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's like... he'd team up with the Brotherhood of Mutants, but the Avengers wouldn't work with him.
Or almost like... Mystique is now on Professor X's team because he's okay killing. Do you get what I mean? So she now works for him. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I could so imagine like a merger of the X symbol and a moon crescent. You know?
Yeah.
Just very clean, very simple. But it's almost like he's always on, like, Khonshu is always on Professor X's, like, shoulder, you know? And they both spout, like, intelligence, like, talk to each other, you know? But then I could also imagine it as Khonshu's plan. Because he's psychic, and if he can ever break Charles, he could... I feel like Charles... This is how the story ends. Khonshu breaks Charles so much by, like, Professor X... Like, Khonshu forces Professor X to kill Magneto or whatever, you know? Like, Cyclops find out that Khonshu, like, Professor X is being manipulated. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And in that moment, Professor X, like, sanity snaps and Khonshu takes over. And as soon as he does, now everyone on the Earth believes in Khonshu. Just one flick of the psychic powers, boom. Do you get what I mean? Oh, just imagine the X-Men team, but most of their costumes are white now. Do you get what I mean?
Or, like, it'd be, like, similar with, like, in the films, they all wear the yellow and black, but it's all just white. Instead of the X, it's like the Moon Knight logo or whatever it is.
It would be, like, white, gold, and black. Like, that's what their colour scheme would be.
That would look...
That's crispy. Because that's what Professor X is wearing right now in the Hellfire Gala. It's his...
White, black and gold or whatever it was.
No, white and gold. And it looks great.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that could be fun, as if, like, Professor X thinks he has this ideal, but the thing controlling him is actually manipulating Charles to becoming... to, like... Now everyone on the X-Men team believes in Khonshu in some manner. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, if Khonshu was able to talk to them, Professor X would go and allow, like, Khonshu to go into Nightcrawler's mind as, like, a Christian and be like, hey, not your god, how about me? You know? That sort of thing instead. And it could
I'll help you.
And it could
crap like that.
And it could
God never did.
Yeah, and it could even be fun where, like, Khonshu then marries Storm. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's a stretch, but it's like Storm was seen as a goddess of Africa. That could be fun, like, the pairing of those two. So it could almost be like Professor X marries Storm instead. Let's age her up or age him down a little bit. But instead, it's Khonshu in the background being like, she's a fucking Omega level mutant. Do you get what I mean? Oh, I don't. This could be fun. He manipulates Iceman, so instead of creating ice, he takes away all the moisture. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, boom, everywhere is a desert now. Khonshu's living life. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be fun in some way. I just had that thought of just Moon Knight X-Men. That's all I've got. And I'm definitely going to work on that. So we may have to do a follow-up to this entire video.
So what if Khonshu took over the X-Men?
Pretty much.
You know you've got lots more art now for the Instagram.
That's true, you know. Ooh. Because it'd be fun to see who wouldn't join Professor X's team if he was more brutal. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like Wolverine would, but it would be more like feral Wolverine. Because Professor X wouldn't have that relationship with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where Wolverine is never becoming the leader of the X-Men at all, you know? And then do you know what happens? Jean Grey gets the Phoenix and Khonshu goes, I don't think you do. You know? And he like bottles it away or whatever. For a later date. And do you know what could be fun? Apocalypse appears and goes, and he goes, there's something about you, Professor, that seems very known to me. And then it zooms into Professor X's eye and it's just Khonshu with his arms crossed. Because Apocalypse comes from Egypt. Yeah. And he was millions of years ago. He's millions of years ago where they still believed in Khonshu. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be, instead of Professor X and Apocalypse having this rivalry, it's Khonshu and Apocalypse, you know? And then you bring in Kang, because Kang has like a past in Egypt and stuff, you know? So it's like just this one little change, because I like Kang versus Moon Knight. Seen it in one issue. I want to see it again. Because it makes sense within Kang's past. But I really want to see Moon Knight versus Apocalypse. It doesn't make sense for power levels or just story. But if you gave it to a more powerful character, they could easily go up against, and you could have the Apocalypse and Khonshu decisions. You know?
Yeah.
That could be fun. And then do you know where Krakoa is instead? On the moon. Because of course it is. You know?
Any reason, or?
Well, Khonshu. Where would Khonshu feel stronger than on the moon? So instead of having an island of mutants, they have a whatever. Do you get what I mean?
I forgot Moon Knight gets powerful when the moon's out.
Yeah. And that could be like, when the moon like is strong, Professor X's psychic abilities become even stronger. So the day Khonshu takes over the planet is the like a full moon or a red moon, you know? Or like an eclipse where the sun is taken away, so Professor X's power like spikes. Oh, do you know what's fun? Because this isn't conjoined with our Ultron thing. Scarlet Witch goes, no more mutants. And I could almost see Professor X thinks he's going up against Scarlet Witch, but Scarlet Witch also has Khonshu on her shoulder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she snapped, and maybe because Professor X, like, everyone knew Scarlet Witch had kids. Maybe one day while Professor X is sleeping, it's like a Venom thing. Like, Khonshu reaches out to Scarlet Witch and goes, hey, you once had kids. And then Scarlet Witch goes, what? And then just breaks the earth, you know? But in that moment, she goes, no more mutants. Anyone who opposes Khonshu, anyone who could find out he exists, anyone who could stop his plans, they're the ones that get erased. You know?
Yeah.
So where it's almost a Thanos thing where it's like 50% of all whatever. Or he...
Or could you just say like no more non-believers or something?
Maybe. Or like no more powers. Boom.
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, do. And you know in that, you would always like, what would become of Max Spector? And it's like, he would die in Egypt. just at the
He's
bottom.
dead.
Or this could even be more fun. Mark Spector is now Professor X's Moira McTaggart. Who took Professor X on that journey to Egypt? It was Mark Fox being paid. Do you get what I mean?
Fox is yours.
Whoops. Slip of the tongue. Mark Spector. And he becomes the Moira McTaggart. So he's the human who works with Thing. And he's also like... He's who they send when there's like no mutant things. When it's like no mutants are allowed. He's like, don't mind me. And then he just pulls a Glock and shoots whoever. Because he doesn't care. You know? Okay, there you go, that's fun. I thought I was going to speak about it for like 10 seconds. And then I was like, nope, instantly. Just boom. Just an entire storyline.
I was just going to say now, I know we got 4 each. But should we just do one more and make this a 2-parter? One more each?
Bro, this is 30 minutes already. I don't know because I might not be able to speak about some of mine. So...
Yeah, but based on what you've said about the last one, you said you weren't going to be able to speak about that.
Yeah. But I don't think this will be a 2-part. It might just be a long video. Because we've talked so much, I may not even mention some of my what-ifs. Because they're just not that well thought out. But go on, you carry on to yours.
My next one.
Yep.
What if all the mutants were evil? This isn't very good, but...
What if all the mutants were evil?
Yeah, they were all with, like, Magneto and his thing.
Then Magneto is now an Avengers villain. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's the duo Magneto and Professor X. And they have to be stopped sort of thing.
Oh, I didn't even think about Professor X.
Yeah. And you know there would be, like, loads of teams... Where it's like Spider-Man has a team of mutants that he fights all the time, you know?
Yeah.
He has like Toad and like Wolverine, you know? Like some stuff like that. That could be fun. Because you would never get the X-Men
I was thinking
side.
of it. Get like a very like contained story. Where it's like it gets to a point if every mutant was evil and with Magneto, it gets to a point where they just wipe out humans.
Or you do an alternate that, and you do a mini civil war between the Avengers, whether they should genocide all mutant kind.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Ooh, that's interesting. Because personally, I don't think Avengers could win. But let's say they did.
No.
That could be fun. I'd love to see the teams that come out of that, you know? It could be even fun where it's like, now the school is like a villainous school. Like, do you know what Taskmaster has? He trains mutants to become a villainous team. And then Magneto is the leader of what would become the X-Men. Do you get what I mean? That could be fun. Because you said all, like...
Every single one.
Yeah. But I was thinking, like, it would be fun if, like, Wolverine was the outlier of that. You know?
I was thinking Wolverine is one of the big, like, problems of them to deal with.
Probably. And you know, if Wolverine was evil, he would instantly become Hulk villain. Because that's where he began. That's where he would remain. But we would see it to this day. You know?
Yeah. Like, he started as a threat against the Hulk.
Yeah.
And that's where he just stays now forever.
Like, that could happen in comics right now. If they did one thing wrong. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if the American government kidnapped Professor X. Instantly, boom, everyone is against the world. And you know Magneto would step in to be like, oh, my children, you all come with me. You know?
Yeah, because everyone's his children.
Scarlet Witch, she would 100% get assassinated so quickly. Because they wouldn't have the, but she was our friend, she was an Avenger. Hawkeye arrows straight through the brain. If you do Hawkeye kill Scarlet Witch, that makes fun of, because she's killed Hawkeye twice. Once in Avengers Disassembled, but then in House of M, she brings back Hawkeye. And then Hawkeye goes to kill her and she destroys him again. So in this version, Hawkeye just snipes her. Just boom. Just
I don't blame him, really.
Oh, and that would be a sick shot. She goes, no more are there. and then boom, an arrow through the skull.
Yeah, it's like,
like
like in Age of Ultron, where he was like Avengers, and then it cut off. He's like, no more, dead.
Yeah, boom, and then it would be like, and then Quicksilver goes and kills him. That's fun.
Yeah, so Hawkeye's dead.
Yeah.
Why every time we create this alternate universe, Hawkeye's always dead?
It's good. It's okay. We'll allow it.
We don't hate Hawkeye, I swear.
Ooh. But now, like, there's no mutant on the Illuminati, Because if they're all evil.
Yeah.
I've always thought of this. Why not someone from space on that Illuminati team? Because technically Black Boltagon. But, like, why not have a Kree there? Why not have a Skrull?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But that's like another discussion, but that's fun. And then it would be all the mutants have disappeared. Where have they gone to? They track them all, and they're all on Krakoa. And Krakoa is just powering, like, going up in strength until he just becomes a huge island monster. Because he's a mutant.
Yeah.
So he would just... That's what the big boys would be dealing with, Just Krakoa just smashing through everything. That's fun. I like that. And he would definitely come through, we've all been experimented on, all of this. The only problem I have with that is, like, what X-Men stand for, like, racial terms and, like...
Yeah, but it's a what if.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing matters.
Yeah.
It's done when this story's over, that's done.
This is what you do. You have a mini Civil War, and Iron Man goes, you know what we have to do, Cap? And Cap just looks down, and then Iron Man looks to Black Bolt as they're all around the Illuminati table, and then he gets on Lockjaw, goes to the moon, and then releases Terrigen Mist all over the Earth, which Terrigen Mist kills mutants, gives them an infectious disease, and they'll all die. But in that, everyone on Earth gets powers. Everyone on Earth becomes an Inhuman. Because that would be
but isn't it? I don't know if this is just in the movies and everything.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not like got the gene to become an Inhuman, you die if you get hit with it.
No, I think in the comics, because if I'm remembering, I can't remember what story it is. I think it's Avengers versus Inhumans or X-Men versus Inhumans. They just release it, and it's like, you better just not go outside,
Yeah.
Because I think it's just, it'll turn everyone into... Yeah, it definitely does. In the comics, it'll turn everyone. Because in the film, they were trying to make it mutants, where you have the... what's it called? Inhuman gene. It's like, no. That would be the only way, other than, like, Professor X or Scarlet Witch, to kill all the mutants, Because no one's that strong. So they would have to resort to just genocide via gassing. And that's a very, like, touchy subject in humanity, Gassing an entire, like, race away? That's not great. But I quite like that idea.
Yeah.
Just seeing, like, the teams and stuff. And just the Avengers versus... Because would it be X-Men? Or it'd just be X, This is just X now. It's like, you got the main X team. That could be fun. And it could be interesting why everyone's bad in their own individual ways. Because Nightcrawler, why is Nightcrawler bad? Because he got, like, bullied out of his own town. Fine. Why did Colossus... Whatever, because he was kicked out of Russia. Wolverine experimented on. Professor X. Professor X is difficult.
I don't know, we could have had...
Maybe Magneto just persuaded him, It's not that hard to think about.
So they were friends.
Yeah. That's fun. I could imagine them going, we have to go to a mutant to stop the mutant. And they go, and there's just, like, Beast just locked in a cell. And he's just like, ugh. Like, I'm just a blue dude. Like, give me a break or something, You choose one mutant. I know who it is. Legion. Professor X's son is the one who gives the plan to destroy all mutants. Because then, Legion's bad. But in this universe, like, sure, he could be good. Who cares?
And the one who's good is someone who was previously bad.
Exactly. But it's just like, that would make sense because he would hate Professor X so much. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if the origin was the same, that would make even more sense. And then it's like, oh, how do we destroy whatever? And it's like a scene where like Legion fractures himself and unleashes all of his personalities and all of his powers at once. And he just... that could be sick. Legion flip-flopping between all of his personalities, taking on each individual member of the X team. You know?
Yeah.
Until you get to Professor X, and Professor X tries to stop him. He goes, "You can't control me anymore, Charles." And then it's just like a psychic...
Why'd you do Magneto?
I don't know. Because as soon as I say Charles, I dip into Ian McKellen. And then like a psychic energy, like Professor X tries to attack him with psychic, and it's almost like a force field, like it bounces back and just kills Professor X. And because they have that, that's sick. You kill Professor X, all of a sudden all the X-Men around you go, wait, what's happened? It was Professor X making all mutants evil all the time. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what that could be. That could just be like a fun thing. Who's getting the Phoenix Force now? Is it still Jean Grey?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, and it's like X-Men 3 where they treat her as like a messiah. That it's like she's slowly building up energy and one day she'll just destroy the Earth. You know? Yeah. Something like that, because she destroyed the planet in her original Phoenix run. And then it's just like everyone...
They're just treating her like this god being.
Yeah. And then, you know, Apocalypse has got to be on her shoulder. You know, one side there's Professor X, one side there's Apocalypse. And they're both just like, hey, fuck up humanity. Do it. Do it now. Because it would be fun, because all non-mutant X-Men villains would then become heroes, technically. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head. But anyone who hates mutants is now justified in their acts. Like, Senator Kelly is now President Kelly. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, because all the mutants are...
nuts. Oh, this is sick. You now get a Vision / Ultron Sentinel program.
Yeah.
Oh, so you could literally do... you could do the similar thing we did with that Ultron story, but have it be Vision, and they're all Sentinels now. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, apparently we can talk about What If for a very long time.
Yeah. This is definitely a two-parter.
I don't know.
If not more.
One of mine, because... Let's go past that idea now. One of mine is literally...
We already got an hour.
No, mine are all useless. I may just skim through some of mine. You know?
Go for them.
Okay, what if more Ultimate Spider-Man characters joined the 616 universe? That's only because I want Ultimate Moon Knight in the Marvel universe. Okay, skip that one. What if Original Sin was different? And all that means...
Sin?
Yeah, you've read that book, Daniel. You've read that book.
Yeah.
And all it is, what if Moon Knight becomes the man on the wall? And the entire idea was him versus the eye, or the orb. There we go. Shit story. What if Shadowland was different? Now, this is the only big one I have. Bullseye remains dead. Luke Cage and Iron Fist, the way they defeat Daredevil instead, is they hold down Daredevil as Moon Knight, from his Shadowland tie-in, decapitates Matt Murdock with the crescent moon that he was getting in his tie-in. Do you know what I mean? Boom. And I instantly... and then I thought, what if the Beast then got defeated by Khonshu? And now Moon Knight has the hand. You know?
Yeah.
Sick image of Moon Knight stood far away with 1,000 white ninjas rushing towards you. You know? That's just a fun idea, I imagine. And I imagine in that universe, like what's happening right now, Elektra becomes Daredevil. Like, in honor of Matt. And she has a vendetta against, like, Moon Knight and Luke Cage and Iron Fist, but she still lives up to Daredevil's, like, ethics and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just put this in for fun. Ghost Rider, no, Kingpin keeps Ghost Rider, because in that story, Ghost Rider is working for Kingpin. Yeah, so I just imagine, like, you failed your task. You now always work for me. Do you get what I mean? And that could be fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's more paranormal stuff in Gang Turf. Now, this is a thing that may be its own video. What if Carnage went to different people? This is going to be its own video. Assistant, write that down. We don't have one, but someone will. Write that down. And that's going to be its own video, I reckon. What if this character got the symbiote? Okay? Because there's some funny stuff we could have with that. But go on, Dan, give me another one. I feel like going off now.
I'm gonna skip this
one. Choose your best one.
I feel like this.
Choose your best one.
I'm gonna skip this one because I feel like this one could go on for ages and it could be its own thing.
Okay, just tell me what it is.
What if multiple species invaded together at the same time?
Yeah, that's its own different video.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Instantly, my brain went. If you were able to look inside of my brain at that moment, I imagine it as a universe exploding, and then me going, oh, "That's another video." And we're going to call it "How We Destroyed the Marvel Universe." There we go.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your one that we're going to end the video on?
What if the Hulk never went rogue?
Ooh.
I'm going to explain it here.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Where I'm putting this. You know when the Hulk, he was with the military when he was doing the Gamma thing, weren't he?
Yeah, he was
the
working
Army and
for
General
them, yeah.
Ross. What if when he became the Hulk, he stayed with them and worked with them?
That's it. Because as soon as you said it, I thought you were going to say, what if Bruce Banner disappeared? Hulk was the Hulk, but then that would just become like Abomination. It would just be...
Yeah, that's just
the Earth would just get destroyed. Do you get what I mean? Because it's like, from like World War Hulk and that sort of stuff, clearly Hulk is incredibly powerful. And the only way he would get destroyed is like when Galactus finally turned up and all the Fantastic Four was killed. And Hulk's just going, uh-oh, as Galactus just devours the Earth. But okay, your idea. Instantly, I'm thinking Super Soldier Serum. Is Hulk still bad? Do you get what I mean? Is it?
Yeah.
Does Bruce Banner, is he the one who remains with the government? Or is Hulk the one that remains with the government?
They were both like a mutual,
okay.
They both decided to work with.
Now this is
Hulk
what I'm
probably
thinking.
Didn't have much of a choice in the matter, but
yeah. Damage is a character in DC who, for an hour, he can turn into the Hulk, and the army will drop him off, and he'll do a rampage for an hour, and then they pick him up and take him back. That's what super soldiers become. Oh no, we have to invade Iraq. All of a sudden, 3 humans fall out of planes, hit the ground, and then all of a sudden, huge rainbow, multicolored, huge beasts just charge out. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be fun. And it's like, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s main priority is both making... Because clearly, technically, the serum works. If you can control the Hulk, the serum works. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I still imagine it as like a rage monster, but it's a rage monster the Thunderbolt Ross can control. Where he goes, attack that, and then the Hulk runs over there. You know?
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay. So now I imagine the Hulk is almost like the Thunderbolt Ross now. Or he's kind of like a right-hand man to Nick Fury, something like that, you know?
Yeah.
There's still got to be a story where Hulk goes on a rampage. But it's like, oh, instantly government covers it up. Oh, that was just Abomination. And they created Abomination. And every so often they release him. And then the Hulk fights him. To be like, this is why we need Gamma. Because what was it? Super Soldiers? Gamma Soldiers.
Yeah.
That's the book. That's what it's called. And now it's like... It'll be a tank, but on the side is spray painted a gamma symbol. You know?
Yeah.
Or instead of a tank, it's like a cargo container. And then they drive into a middle of like a war zone. And then all of a sudden like 17 Hulks just burst out at like all at once. You know? That's fun. Because you could still...
This idea originally started out for me as, what if the Abomination never even stayed and worked with the military?
Yeah, but I'm like...
I thought the Hulk could be more interesting.
Yeah, like, Abomination staying with the military is very similar, you know? That's just him being a mercenary, which, like, he probably is...
I just thought the Hulk could be more interesting. Because he could also, like, when he changes to Bruce Banner, he can help on the, like, scientific side.
And that also changes, like, all of Marvel history, which What If should do, I feel like. Like, it should have a ripple effect sort of thing, which is, like, fun to think about.
One thing changes, everything changes. But after that point, nothing before.
Yeah. Now I imagine it as if, like, like a small contingent of all wars are fought with gamma irradiated things, you know?
Yeah.
And let's just say, and then you got to do a story where, like, Iraq or another... I always say Iraq because I have no clue about American wars. And that's the only one I go to. So, whatever country, Korea, because who likes Kim Jong-un these days? He gets his hand on, like, the gamma...
Political.
Yeah. Come at me, Koreans. South Korean? North... I don't know. I don't care. They get their hands on the gamma-rated stuff, and now it's like, oh, but look what happens when... It's like the Iron Man effect. Look what happens when your weapons get into the wrong hands, you know?
Yeah.
That's fun. How would that change? World War Hulk would never happen, for one. Because they would never send Hulk into space. Who's a character who would be against the super soldier thing? Like the gamma soldiers. Who would be against it? I'm thinking Cap, Iron Man, or like Mr. Fantastic. One of them. You know?
Yeah. I felt like Cap was stressed enough with one Hulk.
That's another civil war, you know? Is this right? Do you get what I mean? Like, that's what that would then become.
Or you could have some heroes who are like, maybe selfishly go against it because they're now irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because, like, why would you need a Spider-Man to fight a Green Goblin when you could send Hulk in and end it in 5 seconds?
Yeah, but it's a thing where it happens like that.
Yeah.
But then the thing comes out of the Civil War thing, like, you just destroyed an entire city to kill one dude on a glider. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine what characters wouldn't come from that. Like, if Hulk changed, who would it be created? Scar, his son, would never be created. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Oh!
I feel like Red Hulk still would, because Thunderbolt Ross would then be more confident making himself do it.
Or, like, even Red Hulk is what Abomination is now. Or, I know I said the thing about Abomination, but, like, a good soldier. Oh! Who's a murderous soldier we know? Frank Castle is a gamma soldier.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I imagine these gamma soldiers, it's like the Hulk, but in like different colours and different like genders and stuff. But do you know like the Gears of War outfit where like it's from the toes all the way up to the shoulders? It's like that. It's like that jumpsuit, but so they can like, so their arms can still have superhuman strength. And obviously it is made out of like, what's the Mr. Fantastic material? Unstable molecules to how they make all their outfits and stuff. That's what it would be. I feel like that would be such a Hulk Punisher thing where it's like, oh, why doesn't Punisher have a lot of villains to his name? Because he kills them all. That's what the Hulk now has. Oh, and you know one, like, imagine if this was an ongoing. Thunderbolt Ross then goes, like, you realise he's been working for someone. He opens a door and walks into the secret president or, like, secret director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it turns around and it's the leader. You know?
Yeah.
Because gamma radiation makes sense. Any other gamma villains? Sasquatch, technically, from
Christ.
yeah, because we've read Immortal Hulk.
Yeah. Sasquatch, my favorite. I can't really think of any Gamma villains, but
I can
apart from like Abomination and Leader.
Yeah, I can. Oh, instead of Weapon X's and stuff, it's now Gamma X. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, which weapon is Hulk? One of the weapons, or
I don't think so.
I think in the MCU he is, but
yeah, but I feel like
because Captain America's weapon 1.
Yeah, but I feel like as soon as they realised Gamma works, they would stop everything else and only work on that. Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool. Or it's happening, but he's now gamma irradiated instead of everything else. Phantom X, same deal.
I don't think it would be Wade Wilson.
Maybe.
Because why would, because they were giving him mutant powers when he got his thing, weren't they?
No, they were just testing on him because I can't remember. Did they give him his healing factor or did he gain his healing factor?
I know in the film they gave him his healing factor.
Yeah, but in the comics he's not a mutant. He's a mutate. Which technically the Hulk and Spider-Man is as well. Yeah.
So they obviously gave him his power, so I don't think it would be Wade Wilson.
I feel like it would be, but he would be against the government because he's insane. Like, that's the moment he's the only...
He'd be like the normal Hulk who left.
Yeah, he's the only Hulk whose brain fractured at the exact same time. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
He then was like, oh, fourth wall breaking Hulk. Because She-Hulk was fourth wall breaking for ages. What does She-Hulk become?
I feel
does she just stay the same? Or this is what you do. Oh, Bruce Banner leaves the government. He's like, oh my god. And then he learns from a family member his cousin was murdered. And then Thunderbolt Ross comes over to him and is like, if only there was gamma irradiated soldiers on the police force. And that's the moment Bruce Banner went, okay. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Betty Brant is killed, one of them. That could be fun how they get over the Thunderbolt and Bruce Banner relationship is through Betty Brant, dying or...
Betty Ross.
Betty Ross. Who's Betty Brant?
That's the Spider-Man,
of course
Daily Bugle woman.
Oh, that's their fault I have the same name. Same first name, actually. I like this idea. I don't know where to go from it because I don't know what Hulk has been involved in a lot.
I know, most of his stories are for him being rogue.
Yeah.
So...
okay, who would they send out to space? Because in the Illuminati thing,
yeah.
Instead of... who would... I feel like Bruce Banner would then be on the Illuminati and he stands for the government. Because none of those stand for the government. It's Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Inhumans, Atlanteans, Supernatural, and now you have the government, and it's Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Do you get what I mean? So that could be fun. But then it's maybe everyone's in on the idea, that could be interesting. And then they send Captain America into space. He's the only one of revolting because he's seen wars where weapons get into the wrong hands and stuff. Yeah,
because what would happen if someone they were fighting against got this?
Yeah. So he then gets sent into space, and then you get Planet America. No, I was about to say Planet America. Do you know Planet Hulk? And then you've got Captain America going through Sakaar. And then he comes back, and you have World War Rogers. There you go. Ooh, this is fun. We definitely need to do a part 2 where we come up with way more, or you come up with way more, and I just tell the stories of what happens.
Yeah, because yours has been crap.
Yeah, I've literally looked into the comic collection and go boom, 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 boom. What would I want to see? What would I want to see? I don't get it. I like my Moon Knight X.
Because I just looked this through my room and thought, that could be a good idea.
Yeah, you started from the basics, where it's what if this character was changed, not what if this story had changed. Except from, I like my X-Men Moon Knight one. Just because imagining a more vicious Professor X surrounded by white and gold members of the X-Men, I'm like, that's beautiful. Mwah. But there you go. That has been this episode of Amalgam Hour. Jesus. So if you have got any other what ifs, yeah, it's now an hour and 10. So that's been our however many pitches. We'll come up with sequels to this videos and spin-offs of this video and whatever. I hope someone wrote down the ideas we had. But that was the Amalgam Hour podcast. Thank you for listening.